One day, at Adventure Bay, a stage was being set up. They were planning to have a dance competition. "Oh, this is so exciting," said Mayor Goodway. "Adventure Bay's dance competition is sure to be a smash." "We never seem to disappoint," said Ryder. "Indeed, Ryder," said Mayor Goodway, "but I'm excited to see the special dance the Paw Patrol will be doing at the show. I'm sure those pups will win." "You think so?" Ryder and the mayor turned around and seen none other than Mayor Humdinger, the mayor of Foggy Bottom. "What's a competition without me?" he asked sinisterly. "Oh, you know you never win anything," said Mayor Goodway. "True, but I think this time Foggy Bottom will win for a change," said Mayor Humdinger. "My daughter Melissa and her boyfriend Charles have come up with quite a dance that will surely blow you all away." "You're not cheating with robots again, are you?" Ryder asked suspiciously. "Oh no, this time I assure you this is legit," Mayor Humdinger said. At that moment, he showed Melissa and Charles showing off their dance. Ryder and Mayor Humdinger were convinced. "Well, we'll just see how this competition goes," Ryder said. "Remember, no cheating, Humdinger," said Mayor Goodway. "I've got my eye on you." "Oh, please," said Humdinger. "You think I would cheat if my daughter was involved?" Good point," said Goodway. "But still, keeping my eye on you." Ryder started to head back to the lookout, and then he was stopped by a family of 3. "Excuse me," said the man. "Are you Zach Ryder, Jr.?" "Why, yes, I am," Ryder responded. "How may I help you folks?" The man answered, "My name is Frank. This is my wife, Wendy, and this is our daughter, Bonnie." "We wanted to enter our daughter in the upcoming dance competition," said Wendy. "She's a great dancer, but she doesn't have a dance partner." "We thought maybe you could help us since you're the head of the Paw Patrol, Adventure Bay's #1 heroes," added Frank. "I could never say no to anyone in need," said Ryder. "I'm about to head back to the lookout, so if she'd like to come with me, I'll see if the pups and I can have her. That is, if I have your permission, of course." Bonnie was excited to get to spend time with the Paw Patrol. This was something she had always wanted to do. She begged her parents if she could go with Ryder. Of course her parents agreed to let her go, and off they went. Meanwhile, back at the lookout, the pups were practicing their dance number for the dance competition. Soon, Ryder returned. "Hey, pups," said Ryder. "How's it going?" "It's going great so far," said Chase. "Except Marshall might need some fine-tuning," said Sky. "Hey, I can't help it if I have 4 left feet," said Marshall. "Well, for now, I'd like you pups to take some time off practicing that dance," said Ryder. "I'd like you all to meet Bonnie." Bonnie was so happy to meet the pups. Each pup introduced themselves to her and allowed her to pet them. "The reason she's here is because she wants to be in the dance competition, but she needs a partner," said Ryder. "How would one of you pups like to be her partner?" "A dog and girl couple?" questioned Rebel. "That sounds a little silly." "I think we'll be more than happy to help her out," said Chase. "Oh, thank you," said Bonnie. "So, Bonnie, which pup would you like to have as your dance partner?" asked Ryder. Bonnie looked at each pup and thought about it carefully. After a few seconds, she chose her favorite pup. "I pick Marshall." Marshall blinked. "Me? But I'm too clumsy. Why don't you pick someone else?" "Come on, Marshall, give it a try," said Sky. "Yeah, we don't want to hurt her feelings," said Chase. "I know," said Marshall, "but I really think she should pick another pup. I'm not a very good dancer. Watch." He demonstrated how he danced and kept collapsing. Bonnie giggled. "Marshall, you're so funny. That's why you're my favorite." "Hold on," said Ryder. "I think I might have a solution. Marshall, how would you feel if one of the other pups propped you on her shoulders while you dance with Bonnie? That way, she can still dance with you and you won't have to worry about tripping." "Hey, I like that idea," said Marshall. "All right, so which pup do you think will be the best choice for your legs?" Ryder asked. Marshall looked up the other pups and said, "I think I'll pick Chase." "All right," said Ryder. "Chase, are you okay with that?" "Sure." So Marshall and Chase walked up to Bonnie. Marshall climbed onto Chase's shoulders. Chase stood up on his hind legs and grabbed onto Marshall's legs. Marshall held onto Bonnie while Chase started dancing underneath him. Bonnie danced along with them. As they danced, Rebel, Sky, and Zuma just couldn't keep a straight face. To them, this looked hilarious. Rocky thought it looked too weird, but then he came up with an idea to make the act look better. Rocky went and got a trench coat and dropped it over to Ryder. "Ryder, I just came up with an awesome idea," said Rocky. "How about if Marshall and Chase wore this coat while they were dancing with Bonnie? This way, instead of looking like she's dancing with 2 dogs, she'll be dancing with one high-appropriate dance partner." Not a bad idea, Rocky, said Ryder. Let's try it out. Before they tried the dance again, Ryder put the coat on Marshall and Chase. Now Marshall looked like he was as tall as Bonnie. This'll be a little tricky, but I'm up for the challenge, said Chase. Then let's do it, Legs, said Marshall. Bonnie giggled and they continued dancing. Chase peeked out a little so that he could see what he was doing. Little did they know, someone was spying on them. It was Mayor Humdinger. Well, 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 he said. It looks like those pups had a clever act they're pulling off for this dance competition. But I'm more clever. Let's just see how I can sabotage their act. He examined carefully. Marshall and Chase in the coat. Humdinger knew that Chase was allergic to cats, and given that he was one underneath the coat, this gave Humdinger a brilliant idea. That night, Humdinger snuck onto the lookout area. He had his Kitten Catastrophe crew with him. He found the coat that Marshall and Chase were wearing earlier that day. Okay, kitties, he said, do your worst. The kittens got inside the coat and started shedding their fur all over the inside. After they finished, they followed Humdinger back to Foggy Bottom. Humdinger laughed. Now we'll see who is the more clever one. The next day, the pups all got and practiced their dance again. When they practiced, Ryder went to pick up Bonnie. When he brought her back to the lookout, Chase and Marshall were ready to start dancing with her again. Marshall grabbed the coat and climbed onto Chase's shoulders. They managed to dance with Bonnie for a little bit, until suddenly, Chase picked up the scent from inside the coat that he knew very well indeed. His nose started to tickle, his eyes started to water, and then, achoo! He sneezed. Everybody froze. You okay down there, Chase? Asked Marshall. I guess, answered Chase, but something is making me achoo! Bonnie backed away as Chase continued to sneeze. Achoo! 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 His sneezes were causing him and Marshall to wobble and flail around. This was a nightmare situation for Chase. Here he was in a confined space surrounded by the one thing he's most deathly allergic to. Soon, he let out the biggest sneeze he had ever made in his life. Achoo! Marshall was ejected out of the coat by Chase's extreme sneeze. The other pups laughed at first, but they soon got serious. What just happened there, Chase? Asked Ryder. I don't know, Ryder, said Chase. We were just dancing and suddenly my allergies just started going haywire. Then maybe it has something to do with Marshall or the coat, Ryder asked. Well, let's see, said Chase. He sniffed Marshall but picked up nothing unusual. Then he sniffed the coat. Achoo! He sneezed. It is the coat! Achoo! There's only one scent that makes me sneeze like that. Cats! Cats? But there aren't any cats around here other than Callie, and she never tried to, Ryder started to say, but then he came to his senses. Mayor Humdinger! I bet he's behind this. So what are we going to do now? Asked Marshall. Well, it looks like Chase can no longer be your legs, Marshall, said Ryder, so why don't we experiment with the other pups? Marshall did just that. First he tried Rebel, but because of his body type, Rebel was having a hard time standing upright. Next, Marshall tried Zuma, but Zuma had some major balancing issues. Then Marshall tried Rocky, but Rocky had jello legs. Finally, Marshall tried Sky. She was able to support Marshall for a little while, but she got exhausted pretty quickly. Well, it's hopeless, Ryder, Marshall said sadly. It looks like Bonnie will have to forfeit the dance competition. Maybe not, Marshall, said Ryder. What? Marshall gasped. You're not going to make me dance, are you? Because that's out of the question. No, Marshall, Ryder said. There's still one more pup who can help us. Marshall jumped up excited. You mean? Marshall barked, wagging his tail. That's right, said Ryder. He pulled out his pup pad and called Everest. Hi, Everest. We have a situation down here at the bay, and we need your help. Could you come down here as soon as possible? Sure thing, Ryder, Everest replied. Off the trail, Everest won't fail. She jumped into her vehicle and drove over to the lookout. When Everest arrived at the lookout, Ryder took her, Bonnie, and Marshall up to the top of the lookout. Okay, Everest, this is the situation, Ryder explained. Bonnie here wants to compete in an adventure-based dance competition, but she needs a dance partner. Marshall and Chase agreed to pose as her dance partner, but overnight, this coat got infested with cat hair, causing Chase to sneeze. So now Chase can't perform due to his allergies and the condition of the coat. We've already tried the other pups to see if they can replace Chase, but we have no luck. So Everest, you are our last hope. Will you be willing to pose as Marshall's legs and dance with Bonnie? I would be more than happy to, cheered Everest. All right, said Ryder. Yay, cheered Bonnie. This is going to be so much fun, Marshall. Everest giggled as she wagged her tail. Whatever you say, Marshall blushed. Everyone went back outside so that Marshall and Everest could practice with Bonnie. Okay, Marshall, Everest said with a smile. Climb onto my shoulders. Marshall climbed onto her shoulders with the coat, and they started to dance. Surprisingly, Everest was doing a much better job than Chase. Ryder sighed with relief. Phew! Another crisis solved. Suddenly, Ryder's phone rang. He answered it. Ryder here. It was Mayor Goodway. She was in frantic mode. Ryder! It's the mayor! She cried. We have an emergency! The stage is falling apart! We'll be right there, Mayor. No job is too big, no pup is too small, Ryder said before calling the Paw Patrol. Paw Patrol, to the Paw Patroller! Ryder needs us, the pups all said as they ran to the Paw Patroller. Sorry, Bonnie, but we've got an emergency, said Marshall. How about I give you a ride, said Everest as she pickled back Marshall to the Paw Patroller. They were the last to arrive. Thanks for the puppy back ride, Everest, said Marshall. This feels a lot different without the crashing. The pups all went over to the TV screen. Paw Patrol, ready for action, Ryder, sir, said Chase. Sorry to interrupt your fun, pups, said Ryder, but we've got an emergency. The stage that was being set up for the dance show tomorrow night is falling apart. Oh no, Sky cried. I'll bet Humdinger's behind this too, Chase suspected. Ryder began giving his instructions. Marshall, Everest, I want you guys to stay here and continue practicing with Bonnie. I'm fired up, said Marshall. Ice or snow, I'm ready to go, said Everest. Well, what do you know, said Marshall. I guess this time fire and ice do go together. He and Everest laughed. Ryder continued. So for this mission, I'll need Rubble. I need you to use your crane on the super beam. Rubble on the double, said Rubble. Ryder continued. Rocky, I need you to use your tools to fix anything that needs repair. Green means go, said Rocky. Ryder continued. Sky, since we don't have Marshall's ladder, I'll need you to harness Rocky so that he can reach the high spots. This puppy's gonna fly, said Sky. Ryder continued. And Chase, I need you to keep the perimeter of the stage clear so nobody interferes with our work. Chase is on the case, said Chase. What about me, Ryder? Asked Zuma. You can stay here, Zuma, and make sure Marshall, Everest, and Bonnie are doing a good job. You got it, Ryder, said Zuma. All right, Paw Patrol is on the roll, exclaimed Ryder. Marshall, Everest, and Zuma went back to dancing with Bonnie, with Ryder led the other pups to the stage. As they continued to dance, Marshall felt more comfortable doing this, though he hoped Everest wasn't bothered too much by the cat hair in the coat. Then again, this is the same pup who was sprayed by a skunk and didn't seem to mind the smell, so he figured she'd be okay. Zuma watched. I wonder how the others are doing, he thought. Meanwhile, the rest of the Paw Patrol arrived at the stage and got to work. Chase set up cones and kept people away by speaking through his megaphone. Rubble lifted the falling towers from his crane. Rocky did his drill work as Guy suspended him in a harness from her helicopter. Soon the stage was as good as new. Oh, Ryder, said the mayor, how could we ever thank you? No thanks are necessary, Mayor, said Ryder. Whenever you're in trouble, just yelp for help. The next night, Adventure Bay had their dance contest as planned. At this time, Melissa Humdinger and her dance partner Charles were performing their dance. Everyone was impressed. That sure was incredible, said Ryder. I told you my daughter was a natural dancer, Humdinger smirked as he twirled his mustache. See if you can beat that, he chuckled. Mayor Goodway came onto the stage. Thank you, Charles and Melissa, she said. Now next up, we've got a new arrival. Please welcome Bonnie! Backstage, Marshall was standing on Everest's shoulders with the coat on. You ready, Marshall? Everest asked. As ready as I'll ever be, Marshall replied. Hope you don't mess it up. Don't worry, Marshall, said Everest. We got this in the bag. You just hold on to Bonnie and leave all the footwork to me. Bonnie said to the audience, And now, here's my dance partner. Here we go, Marshall, said Everest. The two of them buttoned up the coat, and Everest walked out onto the stage. Marshall stalled at first. Just remember what we practiced, Everest whispered from inside the coat. Music queued up, and the three began their dance. Marshall's heart started racing, but he quickly got into it and started having more fun. Down in the audience, Ryder was extremely impressed seeing how well Everest was pulling this off. This was his first time seeing her dance after all. In fact, the whole audience was impressed at how the two were doing this. Midway through the dance, Marshall almost fell, but Everest caught him just in time. After an astounding big finish, the song ended and thunderous applause came from the audience. Marshall, Everest, and Bonnie decided to take a bow to the audience. Everest peeked out of the coat to view the applauding audience, feeling all the work paid off. "What an amazing performance," said Mayor Goodway. "Now before we announce the winner, here's a special dance number performed by the Paw Patrol." All the Paw Patrol pups got up on stage and performed their dance they'd been practicing. Marshall, now feeling more confident than ever, was able to dance better than he ever has before. He even let Everest do some dancing with him. This was surely a night Adventure Bay will truly remember. After the show, Mayor Humdinger and his daughter walked back home. Humdinger was unhappy. "I can't believe you didn't win," he moaned. "I even played fair this time. Still, Foggy Bottom loses to Adventure Day." "At least I won the silver medal, Daddy," said Melissa. "That's better than nothing." "I suppose you're right," said Humdinger. "You did your best, and that's all that matters." Back at the bay, the Paw Patrol was congratulating Bonnie on winning the gold medal. "I couldn't have done it without the Paw Patrol," Bonnie said. "That was so much fun," said Everest. "I had fun too," said Marshall, "and I can't wait to do it again." Suddenly, Everest's stomach growled. Everest, what was that?" Marshall asked. Everest blushed. "That was my tummy grumbling. I guess all that exercise made me hungry." Ryder chuckled. "I say we go out to dinner to celebrate." "I'm down for that," said Rubble. "I'm craving hot dogs right now." Everest was going to say something, but then her stomach growled again. She blushed and said, "Anything is fine as long as my tummy gets food." Everyone laughed as they started to head out. The end.